Well, I nearly fell out of my armchair yesterday afternoon trying to relax when I got a media release from Sue Higginson, the Green member of the Upper House, spokesman for climate change, environment, planning, justice, attorney. She's got a few shadow portfolios there. It's hard to keep across them. She wrote, the New South Wales government has announced that 20% of Kosciuszko National Park will be temporarily closed to allow aerial shooting of invasive species to be undertaken without risk to public safety. The Greens MP and spokesman for the Environment, Sue Higginson, said Minister Penny Sharp and the National Parks and Wildlife Service are fulfilling their responsibilities to ensure invasive animal species are removed from the park. The killing of animals is not an easy decision. It's not one that anyone wants to make, but it's absolutely necessary. Last week, I flew over the park as part of an inquiry into the aerial shooting program. The number of horses and the extent of damage was devastating. The Nationals and John Barilaro turned one of the greatest national parks into a horse paddock. It's very reassuring the new government is taking action to reverse that devastation. So, on the back of that, I get an email from an interested party at Tumbarumba. I was invited to meet with the New South Wales Parliamentary Committee for the inquiry into the aerial shooting of the Brumbies back on the 28th of March at the Long Plain Hut. Prior to the meeting, myself and other locals, the committee were flown by chopper by National Parks Wildlife to several locations within the northern section in an effort by National Parks Wildlife to demonstrate the Brumby numbers. Upon travelling into Long Plain, we witnessed a very large coach helicopter, National Parks and Wildlife vehicles, parked within an area signposted by National Parks and Wildlife, no vehicle access, rehab area. The signage was erected by the very people now parked there. As the luxury coach arrived at Long Plain Hut, pleasantries introductions were made, but we saw someone there that was revealed to be Sue Higginson. Now, she's a member of the Greens, as you've indicated already. Throughout our time at Long Plain Hut, all members of the committee were respectful, asked a number of questions in an effort to get better understanding of our concerns, except for one. Yes, Sue Higginson. She constantly interrupted others while speaking, especially when it was going to be in a direction she didn't want it to take. Sue Higginson made the statement on the day she'd been out there and saw hundreds of horses. Hundreds of horses. So we go from that to Emma Hurst, who's led the charge in trying to get some sort of common sense out of this Brumby question. The Animal Justice Party Upper House members on the line. G'day, Emma.
Good morning, Ray.
Well, firstly, thank you for correcting Sue Higginson, who sensationalised things by saying she saw hundreds of Brumbies. And after I made mention I'd be talking to you, I got a note from your Upper House colleague from the Nationals. He told me that Wes Fang, that I want to support Emma Hurst, read the numbers we saw from the chopper. The rough counting I did while airborne was somewhere between 60 and 70. I don't know how Sue Higginson believes she counted hundreds. She must have been flying in a different aircraft to the one we were in. So you confirm that you didn't see any more than 70?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I mean, Wes also took photos and videos every time we saw horses, so we can actually go back and count those numbers to actually, on the record, correct that. Because there really wasn't that many. And when we did meet with the community group, as you mentioned, at that point, Sue Higginson had also said she'd seen hundreds of horses. And I said, look, as a guesstimate, I would say there'd be less than 70. And several other members of Parliament nodded their heads and said, yeah, there'd be 70 or less. So we corrected her then. So it's really disappointing that she's now, sticking to her line of hundreds.
Her argument is there are somewhere between, I guess, 13 and 22,000 Brumbies in various parts of Kosciuszko. And I've seen the photos. Wes has now sent them to me, and individually I haven't had time while I'm on here to count them. But he says Emma Hurst is right in correcting Sue Higginson.
Absolutely. And, like you say, I mean, the fact that we actually corrected Miss Higginson on the spot and then she's still stuck to it and keeps pushing, I believe that then following that there was a Facebook post, and then following that I just heard you say that there was a media release, to really stick to that despite being corrected by several people, that there weren't hundreds. It just throws a light over everything that's been said.
Well, the strange part about all of this is we've got you, and you and I have joked previously about the odds of you and I talking regularly on the radio, and we both agree that it's long odds, but we're on a common cause here, saving the Brumbies, and God bless you for doing it. Wes Fang from the Nationals, deserted by the Liberal Party, who have now said there's no equivocation here. They agree with the Labor Party and obviously the Greens, the Liberal Party, the Conservative Party, the senior partner in the Conservative Party in the New South Wales Parliament have a stated policy of agreeing with Labor over the slaughter of brumbies. I shake my head in disbelief that we've got a team with the Animal Justice Party and part of the Nationals to try and save the horses before they're exterminated.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's just really disgusting as well. Obviously, when the Liberal Nationals were in government, they didn't push forward with aerial shooting. So why they've suddenly changed their position to back Labor really brings into question what kind of conversations have happened behind closed doors with Liberal and Labor. And as I've mentioned to you previously, the shooters crossing the floor and also joining in with Labor. What conversations have taken place for them to all just turn their backs on this major animal cruelty issue?
Well, it's a funny thing you should mention, Shooters Fishers. Robert Borsak, he, of course, as you've already pointed out, voted with the Labor Party. But then I'm told, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, did he not come with the committee or didn't play a role of looking how many brumbies there are there?
He was the only substantial member that didn't come to the site visit at Kosciuszko, but he also skipped the last hearing day as well, which happened the day before. So he wasn't there to cross-examine anybody that came in to give evidence, including Parks, who came back to give further evidence. That was our last chance to actually cross-examine them with the evidence that we had heard. Another big disappointment.
Well, Emma, we won't give up. I know I won't. Yeah. I know you won't. And with the help of Wes Fang and the Nationals, we won't give up. And finally, I think common sense will hopefully prevail and the lies and distortions of Penny Sharp and Sue Higginson will be shown for what they are. I appreciate your time as always today. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Emma Hurst, Animal Justice Party, MLC. I get emails all the time about talking to Emma Hurst, Animal Justice. Wouldn't you be diametrically opposed to her on a whole range of issues? Yeah. And she'd be diametrically opposed to me on a whole range of issues. But, I mean, that doesn't mean that we agree on some things, as we agree on this. And when we agree on things, we'll fight together. And if we ever blue about things we don't agree on, we'll have a blue about it. But we're on the same side of the fence on this one, I can tell you. Now,